are all looking for adventure. We are all looking for adventure.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Marriage Adventure Podcast. We're your hosts, Daniel and Bonnie, and today we're talking about something that I see all the time in our marriage and also with couples that we work with.
Yep, and it's one of those things that doesn't always look like a big problem on the surface, but underneath, it's actually creating a lot of distance in your marriage.
Yeah. So, all right, I'm going to ask this question to everybody, and you can answer it out loud, but I'm probably not going to hear you. Have you ever walked away from a conversation with your spouse and thought, they didn't hear a word I just said? And if you just answered every conversation, then this is going to help, hopefully.
Or maybe you've said something like, we've talked about this before, or you're not listening to me. If that's you, you're not alone. And today we're going to talk about what's really going on in those moments and the one communication mistake that's quietly causing that disconnect.
Yeah, and so we're going to also give you something really practical that you can start doing right away, which is always helpful, and that can help your spouse feel heard again, because when that shifts, everything in your marriage starts to shift. And so it's funny that we're talking about this because yesterday we experienced this.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to give you a little insight into what happened in the Hoover house yesterday. More specifically,
The Hoover bathroom?
The Hoover bathroom.
Well, the master bathroom.
Master bathroom. So what happened was I was shaving, right? And I have to shave my head as well as my face because I am, don't have hair. And so anyway, and I don't
have a
use
Hoover predisposition.
That's right.
Yeah.
And
genetically.
And so, well, I don't use shaving cream, and I just use soap, right? So there's a bar of soap laying right there, and when I say bar of soap, I mean that's really not.
That's what I used to wash my
quite
face
accurate with. Bonnie has always had for 30 years a little bar of soap sitting there that she washes her face with.
Yeah.
And that bar of soap, as soap does, it dwindles and dwindles and dwindles and dwindles and just gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And so, well, I also have started in the past several years just using that soap to shave with. Well, it's gotten...
Which is the first time I knew that yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, that's
and
fine.
So, well, I mean,
it doesn't hurt anything.
Why get my own bar? It's just an overkill. So anyway, so I see that bar of soap, and you listen, to call it a bar at this point is just really.
Hey,
really
if you went to a hotel, that's what
overreaching.
you'd get.
Oh no, this was way
size.
smaller. There's like a sliver of soap sitting there, and so I know that Bonnie likes from the shower, right? I know that you like to use the soap all the way down to a bubble. If there's a bubble there, she's going to consider that a bar of soap.
Well,
and so anyway,
it's economical. I don't like wasting soap.
I know. And so anyway, so I looked at her and I just said, how little does that have to get before
it's replaced?
It's replaced, something like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, I was just trying to be funny and and inquisitive. What did you hear that as?
It's time to replace this soap. Why have you not replaced this soap?
I think even more so you heard that as, would you replace the soap now?
Because I went immediately to the closet and got a new bar of soap and replaced it.
You did. And what did I say?
No, I didn't mean for you to replace the bar of soap. I was just asking, at what point do you normally replace this?
Because it was funny to me that it's a sliver of soap and you haven't, thought about it. And it's your bar. I'm not going to replace your bar because I'm just kind of borrowing it a few times a week. And so anyway, well, that got us into this conversation. And she said, you and Josie do the same thing to me. And I'm like, what do you mean?
No, that's not what I said. See, here we're having a conversation. I said I realized something about myself.
Okay, you're right. Yep, that's what you said.
Through this, I realize when you or Josie make a comment on something that's slightly uncomfortable to you, I immediately fix it.
That's right.
Josie's like, I'm hungry. She doesn't say.
Well, that happened that morning.
Yes.
She was at church. She
texted me,
she was
I'm
playing
hungry.
In the band. We weren't there yet.
She texted, I'm hungry. And so I immediately said, can I bring you so-and-so? Can I bring you this? And she's like, yes, thank you.
As the the nurturing mom,
Yes.
you instantly went to fixing it.
Yes. And in that moment, every time I realized it because it just happened with Josie. And when you said that, I caught myself and I was like, oh my gosh, I do this. Every time someone in my house makes a comment on something that's a slight need, I immediately jump up and fix it.
You do, because you're a nurturer.
And so I was like, oh, but I also heard, dang, this is a small bar of soap. Are you ever going to replace that?
You also heard, you're letting us down.
Yes.
And that's not what we meant. Now, if Josie had texted me, I'm hungry, how would you think I would have responded?
Go get food, dummy.
That's right. Did you eat breakfast? So there's probably some food there. You got a car. Go fix it.
Solve it yourself.
That's exactly right.
Yes.
Listen, my job is to teach them to be independent.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And so, but that's okay. There you go. There's your window into the Hoover household.
You're welcome
And,
if you ever wanted that.
For comedic,
Wait a minute, y'all are the marriage people?
and so anyway, but what happens is that happens so often is one couple's talking and the other couple hears something completely
One person
different.
in the couple.
Yeah, not the other couple.
Whole
We
couple.
don't need two couples in your house.
No.
One spouse is talking and the other person is hearing something completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Or they're listening to respond instead of just kind of listening to understand. And even sometimes when you're trying to listen to understand, your understanding was, I needed you to fix that.
Right.
And I really didn't. I was just trying to make a point that, man, you wait a long time. You really like small bars of soap.
Hey, you know what I did this morning?
I saw.
I threw away the little bar of soap.
I know. You know, sometimes you can blend it into the new bar.
Anyway, sorry.
Sorry, we're not talking about soap.
No.
So anyway, but what happens is it's sometimes communication is not a frequency issue. You're always communicating. You're communicating something, right?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
That sometimes it's an understanding issue. I just don't understand what my spouse is saying, or you're hearing something totally different than was communicated.
Yeah, it's that emotional. You know, it's a lot of what the nonverbal and tone is way more than what's said, and sometimes in that it's like one of you might be like, I just feel alone even when we're talking.
Yeah.
Or you know, why do I feel unseen? You know.
Yeah. So let's define this clearly, right?
Okay.
And this is the big communication mistake we're talking about today, is listening to respond rather than listening to understand. And it looks like a million different things sometimes.
Yeah.
Right. Sometimes, like in our situation, it looks like your listening was assuming.
Yeah.
Right.
I just assumed you were saying something.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And maybe it had just happened with Josie, and that's why you were kind of sensitive to it in that moment when 20 minutes later I'd said that, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes it also looks like defending, right? Or fixing.
Yeah.
Which maybe that could have been you too.
Yeah.
Or, sometimes like the family I grew up in, it's interrupting. We couldn't get through a sentence, and I never really realized that because I was in the pattern, right? I was in that family until I got grown, got married, and then I frustrated the snot out of you because I would always interrupt you. And then I started learning, and then I started realizing the more and more I talked to people in my family, I'm like, I can't get a thought out without it being interrupted, and hijacked. And lovely people, wonderful people, just a bad habit, right? Or maybe it's mentally, for some people you might be, and this kind of goes along with defending sometimes, you might be mentally preparing your response.
Yes. Yep.
What
they're talking, and all I'm thinking is, what am I going to say next? Whether it's how I can tell you how to fix your problem, or I can defend myself, or, okay, I just know what you're already thinking, I can finish your sentence. But that's not right.
Yeah, and sometimes that comes from, I don't want to appear, I don't want to be that vulnerable that I appear like I don't have it together, or I'm not, and especially with guys, sometimes that's probably a big one with guys, is we're either fixing or we're mentally preparing our response because it seems manly to not be able to unmanly to not be able to respond. I want to be a man. I want to mansplain it or whatever. I think the situation with the soap with you was more assuming and fixing.
Yeah.
because, like I say, you are a nurturer and you want everybody to be happy and you want, all that kind of stuff. That happened a couple weeks ago, right? We were out of oatmeal, and I was frustrated in the thing because it's a whole thing. And you took this as
I'm a failure. I don't have oatmeal in the house because that's my job to
and
have
I'm like, oh my
food in the house.
gosh, no,
Yes.
goodness gracious.
Yep.
So anyway, but the moment you and your spouse start talking, let me ask you this question, not to you, Bonnie, to listeners. There again, if you answer out loud, I'm not going to hear you. When your spouse starts talking, do you get curious, or do you get ready?
What do you mean by that?
Right. So do you get curious? Do you meaning?
I'm
Are
interested
you
in what you're saying.
interested in what you're saying because I want to know more about you, right? Or I want to know what's going. What are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to know what's going on. Or are you just like getting ready for a response and like this is a battle?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not. Maybe battle's a wrong word for that, but this is okay. We got to go back and forth. I got to prove why I'm right or defend whatever whatever. And I think in communication, being curious is probably going to be the better response.
Oh, for sure.
Right. Now, maybe you do disagree, and that doesn't mean you can't disagree.
Right.
But in the way you respond, you can disagree with a curious attitude towards why do you think that, right?
Or you can shut them down.
Right.
Emotionally.
We're trying to name our new donkey that we told you about on last week's episode. And I came up with the name Bogo because he was a buy one, get one free. And I thought that's cute donkey name Bogo. The kids loved it. They thought it was hilarious. But you didn't like it, right?
Yeah.
And you there were some other names that you liked. Well, in the reality of this whole thing, this is your donkey. And we don't buy donkeys for Daniel. I love them.
I think you might actually be allergic.
I don't know. Something's happening. My eyes are itching. And so I don't know if it's that or ragweed or whatever. But anyway. But I like them from a ministry. They're great with couples.
Yeah.
And they're very therapeutic for couples. But I also, the real reason I love them is they're therapeutic for you, right? As the nurturer.
Yeah, they're pets.
Yeah. Do they ever complain about soap or?
No.
No? Okay,
so
they're easier.
They're good listeners.
They are good listeners. Where I'm really going to start worrying if they become good talkers. You did come in the other day and say,
don't tell this.
I think that he wants to be called. He told me he wants to be called this. And I'm like, are you becoming the woman that talks to donkeys now?
I might be.
And so anyway, but
listen to them too,
I know, and I'm totally lost where I was going with this whole thing.
Okay.
I mean, you didn't like the name that we liked, but at the end of the day, this is your donkey, right? The kids will love it when it's a cute little baby, but pretty soon
they'll be done with it
anyway.
anyway.
They'll be done, and there'll be donkeys out there.
They can't tell the three apart now we have because they don't spend time with them.
Right, and so at the end of the day, I need to be open to you being like, yeah, that's not the name I want, right? So when you're responding and communicating with your spouse, are you so bent on your way? Or are you open to being curious about why they feel a certain way about something? You don't have to agree, but it's the approach.
Well, I think Scripture speaks to this. It's always, and this speaks to every relationship, but this is really great, is James 1:19 says for us to be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry.
Yeah.
And I think too often, that's just a huge thing, and too often we're fast to speak, but we don't really want to listen. And we jump to conclusions, which usually leads us to become angry, or assumptions can make us, well, our son said, he coined assumptions lead to dysfunctions.
He was like 10 years old.
I know,
That was awesome.
And then you can get angry.
Well, and I think that the really interesting thing about that verse is when we're quick to listen, we'll gain understanding that will maybe help us become slow to speak. But when we're quick to listen and slow to speak, then that helps us to be slow to become angry.
Yep.
Right.
Well, it's a really good relational strategy. Who knew? God knew.
Yep. And it's like he created us.
Absolutely.
And I think I love this illustration, and this was an illustration I gave on my coaching, which if By the way, if you're not watching my YouTube coaching on Monday,
you're really missing out.
You're missing out. And so so go ahead and like and subscribe. A little plug here to At the Marriage Adventure YouTube channel.
It's shorter than these.
Oh, they're like 8 minutes. I try to keep them around 8 minutes. But anyway, but the visual I used was a brick versus a sponge. And so, you know, when you're communicating, a brick doesn't absorb anything, but a sponge absorbs. And then it rings out.
Yeah.
So we're not just saying you're just listening. You do get the communication's a two-way street. And so so the sponge receives, it absorbs, and then it gives back. And a brick just kind of deflects. Right?
I think a lot of times we don't even really realize we're being a brick. You know, we just kind of think, okay, I hear you, and we move on. We're not even realizing that we're doing that, and it's unintentional.
Yeah. And so what's happening, though, is if we are a brick, then your spouse is talking, but it's not being received at all. If you're like us and most people, you're always on your phone scrolling reels and stories. Well, instead of just mindlessly doom scrolling, check out our weekly marriage coaching. Every Monday afternoon, we drop a new, short marriage coaching video on YouTube. These concise tips and biblical insights will help you reconnect with Christ and your spouse all week long. Well, if you're loving this podcast, you'll love these bite-sized practical videos. So look up The Marriage Adventure on YouTube and give your marriage 10 minutes this Monday. I guarantee you'll feel the difference. All right, so if you're listening today and you're taking the posture of a sponge and not a brick, you can really tell that I want you to connect with our YouTube marriage coaching. So definitely helps. So what happens when your spouse feels unheard, right? When you're communicating and your spouse feels unheard because you're taking one of those many postures that we talked about earlier. Maybe you're wanting to fix it, or maybe you've got assumptions which lead to dysfunctions, right? Or whatever it is. Well, there's typically two responses that happens. One is shut down, right? And that's kind of what's the point?
Yep.
Right? What's the point in even communicating? Or it's what we talked about in last week's episode. It escalates. You keep pushing and you keep pushing, right? And then sometimes that escalates into just louder and stronger, right? And neither one of those responses are what you want.
No, because either way, you're feeling unheard.
Yeah.
And that doesn't help anything in the relationship. And, you know, honestly, I think disconnection doesn't really happen in just one conversation or one moment. It really happens in those repeated small moments over and over where I just continue to feel unheard.
Yeah.
And then I'm okay. It's not worth it. I'm going to withdraw. I'm going to withdraw a little bit more. Why even try?
Yeah. So what is the shift? So how do you change this? I think if we go back to that passage in James, man, that right there just tells it all. Be quick to what? Listen. And let listening be your first response posture. And listen, you might shock your spouse. They may be like, what's going on?
Yeah, what happened?
Right, because they're used to your pattern, and they really just kind of are thinking this is the way this is going to go. So when you keep your mouth shut and you're really listening, they might think you're on drugs, medicated. So they're going to wonder. But so listen to understand. And I'm telling you, that really means that you have to keep your mouth shut, keep your mind focused.
That's hard.
And it is. It's really hard.
This society has created this thing where if I don't get a message from you in 30 seconds on a reel, it's a real mentality.
Well, man, I found last night, so we're watching this movie. Colby had been begging me to watch this movie, so we're watching this movie, and it's not one you and Josie would enjoy. So we have our guy movies that we watch when y'all are doing your thing, and he's on his phone. He doesn't have social media. He's got ESPN app, which takes a lot of his time. And so he's on his phone while the movie's going. I'm like, dude, you've been begging to watch this movie, and you're not even watching it. He goes, oh yeah. So he puts his phone down. Well, then it goes to a commercial because even on Netflix and all that, they'll run a few commercials throughout. And I caught myself in this. You look up and it's got like a 90-second commercial. What did I do? I grabbed my phone. because I can't just sit there.
Yep.
And and I grab my phone. And used to, growing up, when you had to watch commercials, that's when you went to the bathroom or you got something to drink. But now I grab my phone. And so listening, I mean, this world, you're right, in this world we've created, it is so hard to just focus.
Yep,
and,
focus.
and
It's
listen.
very ADD mentality of, okay, I got to have something stimulating me all the time, constantly, and it's hard to focus on one thing for an extended period of time.
Yep.
So,
So you're gonna have to work at it. And so if you can be curious, other words, like, why is my spouse feeling this way about this, right?
Yeah.
Or what is this going to teach me about my spouse? Or how is my spouse going to react if I truly listen, right? Are they going to
Yeah.
fall over? And then, and then shift that mindset from understanding to understanding instead of winning, right?
and that's hard too, because
It
you can get in a
is.
pattern.
It
You can
is.
get in a pattern of, I've got to win this argument. I've got to win this. And even it's not even always an argument. It's, I just need you to understand where I'm coming from. It's like, I'm going to be right on this.
Yeah, yeah.
I need you to get this.
So it is a cognitive mindset shift that has to happen, and that's where it says be quick to listen.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You're
And
about to
slow.
say-
No, I was just going to say that's going to take time to retrain,
Yeah.
because we're getting an automatic mode
Yeah.
that it's a cycle. It's something we get into.
But I mean, we can do that as humans, right? We do that all the time. We have to, if you want to lose weight, or you want to get in shape, you make a conscious decision to do something different, right? To eat different, to count calories, or to get carbs out. If you want to connect with your kids, we have the capacity as humans to do different things.
But yes,
ourselves.
you do. But most of the time, there has to be something stringent put in place to reform that. So, what are some practical things that can help? Let's break this cycle, and let's retrain my brain to do it differently. What are some things we can do?
Well, I think if you can commit to a couple of responses, and that maybe that'll help give you something, a bridge into communicating, right? So when your spouse is talking, if you can just kind of keep your mouth closed, that's hard.
I don't know.
And get a chip clip. That always helps me. You always look at me funny when I do that. That's right. So, and just kind of maybe focus in on what they're saying.
Sorry, I'm still thinking about the chip clip. I would love to see you do that. That would be funny just to see.
But here's some things that maybe you can say, like, okay, so so what you're saying is you thought that I needed you to go get a new bar of soap? Is that right? Right? So just kind of repeating back. That's that active listening part, right? So and maybe I even said that when you went and got the bar of soap. I was like,
You looked at me really funny.
like, why are you going to get a new bar of soap, right? And
Yeah.
what I hear, or it sounds like you felt whatever. That's a great sentence starter, right?
Mm-hmm.
So wait, it sounds like you felt like I wanted you to go get a new bar of soap. Is that
Right.
Did you feel like I was saying that?
Yes, that is what I thought you were saying.
And I'm telling you, what you're doing now is you're removing layers. You're digging down deeper into emotional connection.
Well, what happened in
instead
that?
of stonewalling.
You did kind of say that to me.
Yeah.
And so what happened was,
And look, it's turned into a whole podcast.
I was about to say, what's interesting is that that one comment you made, and then when I did that, and then you clarified, wait, what you just, it turned into a good 10-minute conversation standing there in our bathroom.
Getting ready for church.
Yeah, we're trying to get out the door, and I'm like, oh, I did not know this was going to be a whole conversation. And now it's an hour-long podcast. Sorry. But it does open up the door when you do that. It does open the door. When you clarify, it opens the door to clarify and to have a further conversation about it. And it led me to think, dang, I do that, don't I? And it revealed something to me about myself in that process.
Well, you're the one, and you're the one that came out with it and said, no, I just realized that what I'm realizing is that when you and Josie, and apparently it's not Colby, but when you and Josie,
he doesn't do it as much.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah.
So, yeah, or another simple question is, did I get that right? And now you're inviting communication instead of shutting it down. And so,
Well, and that when you do that, it's making someone feel safe. It opens up. It's saying, okay, we can dialogue about this now. I've got a safe space to actually get this out of my brain.
yeah,
And where I'm not going to be rejected. And then you feel like, okay, they actually heard me.
yeah.
If you say those things, and it feels really good, and I'm to be understood and to be heard. And all right, well, now I can continue to talk about this.
Well, and that's, you haven't really listened and communicated until your spouse feels understood,
Yeah.
right? And they don't have to, like I say, you don't have to agree with everything they say.
Sure.
But it's just listening to understand them.
Mm-hmm.
And look, I'm telling you, man, I know you were probably, there's no pill. There's no pill
No.
to take for this, right?
Nope.
There's not a listening pill. It's gonna be, there's not
You're going to mess up more than you're going to get it right until
Yeah.
you retrain this.
Yep.
You're going to continue to try it, and then it's going to feel weird. But if you keep pushing through the weird, it eventually gets to the point you've retrained the way. I will say this. You retrained yourself to not interrupt. I mean, that was not an easy thing to do, but you did it.
No.
And now we communicate. It's
I had to go get
easier.
my master's degree in counseling.
That's kind of funny. God's got a sense of humor. Anyway.
Well, yeah. So what changes, guys, when you do this?
Mm.
Conversations begin to slow down.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you let things roll off your back. Everything doesn't have to be a battle.
Yeah.
Everything doesn't have to be a big
A
deal.
fight.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, there's just some stuff that's in your yard that I don't need to worry about.
Yeah.
And
that was a hard thing for me to learn. There are some things I don't need to try to fix. I need to just let you deal with.
Mm-hmm.
And
you can't chase down every emotion I have.
yeah.
And I can't chase down every emotion you have.
Mm-hmm.
And with our teenage kids, we can't.
Right.
Right.
That's exhausting.
Yep. And so conversations begin to slow down. Defensiveness decreases.
Mm-hmm.
And like you just said, emotional safety increases, right? Hey, I feel safe to put my heart there or to say a sentence to them, and they're not going to
Jump at it.
Jump at it, yeah.
And then that builds connection.
It does.
It rebuilds connection if you've lost any of that.
Yep. Things soften, and then things just don't feel like a battle anymore.
So if you take anything away from today, it's this. Your marriage doesn't just need more communication. It needs better understanding. And that's something that you can start practicing today. You've just got to slow down, reflect what you hear, and focus on understanding instead of how you're going to be responding.
Yeah, and when you do that, guys, you're not just improving conversations. Like Bonnie just said, you're rebuilding connection. And that's what we're going for in our marriage. And so that safety and connection and friendship and intimacy and all that, it's all included. It's all the structural parts of your marriage. So listen, if you've enjoyed this, then share it with your friends and connect with us on social at The Marriage Adventure. If you haven't enjoyed it, please don't tell us. It'll really make us sad. So thanks so much for hanging out with us today. Have a great week.
We are all